Welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Former New York Daily News crime reporter Laura-Fahrenthold is joining us on Big Blend Radio today to talk about her brand new book. It's called The Pink-Steeringwheel-Chronicles, A Love Story. This raw and very real memoir starts with the sudden passing of her late husband, renowned Bloomberg journalist Mark-Pittman. He's the first person to ever sue the Federal Reserve. Amazing story in that. But her story follows the 4 summer road trips that she took, driving 31,152 miles in a 1993 RV called Harvey. She took her 2 young daughters and a stray dog, and the story really shares how they dealt with the loss and healing while spreading, which is really sprinkling, how they do it, sprinkle all over, Mark's ashes throughout America and Canada. It's a moving story of love, it's a story of motherhood, and it's candid and humorous because really the road always gives you some kind of adventure to discover and experience. So, you know, as I always say, and you always say, Nancy, what could go wrong?
And then we find it.
Yes, we do, and it's always fun. You can get it now. The Pink Steering Wheel Chronicles is published by Hatherleigh-Press through Penguin Random House. It's number 17 on Amazon's hot new picks list right now. You know what? And I know it's in the next month it's going to get up to number 1. So check it out. You can get it anywhere books are sold, and you can also follow Laura on her blog and her site, laura-fahrenthold.com. And welcome, Laura. It is so good to have you on the show. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it is awesome. It's awesome to chat with you. Reading your book has been, I feel like I know you. You know, I was telling Nancy we need to have more Foster's beer because there's Coronas and Fosters going on in your book, and we like that around here, and wine. But you know, this is really interesting. You're writing. To me, it's you just get right into your story, and yeah, I never knew I'd enjoy a story about, you know, loss. But the reality is it's a story of love. It is a story of moving forward. Do you feel that travel moves you forward to work things through? Because you are, you know, Nancy, we were talking about that last night. It's about moving forward.
It is. I mean, I think that traveling saved us. You know, it was really outdoor therapy rather than being, you know, on the proverbial shrink's couch, which really wasn't that helpful. You know, God bless Amy, my psychologist, but I said, you know, this isn't really working for me. I think I'm going camping instead. So a camping trip turned into a almost 32,000 mile odyssey, if you will. And definitely, yes, it was the best healing and therapy and moving forward and, you know, the things that you need when you are opening a new chapter of your life.
You know, I think when something happens, especially something big, like a loss or some kind of trauma, the one thing is things have changed forever. And the first instinct seems for everybody to tell you to get back to how everything was. And you can't. I don't think you can. And I think a road trip, because it's a completely different style of what you're used to on an everyday basis, it just keeps you occupied and full of seeing things, and that is a complete change. And I think that's what you need when you have a loss. That's how I cope with stuff. And wine.
Yeah, to move forward. When, you know, you started writing this, did you write it as a journal while as a travel log when you were traveling? Because I mean, I feel like I'm there with you on the trip, getting dirt in my feet and between my toes in places and whatever, you know, all these different experiences. I feel like I'm right there. Did you write this as a journal, or is this something you just sat down and said, okay, I'm going to recall all these memories?
It was a little bit of both. You know, I just had scraps of paper or napkins or, you know, little bloggy things that I wrote to myself. A lot of times I would pretend that an editor had given me an assignment. such as, can you die from a broken heart? Because I really thought I was going to die of a broken heart. So then I go and research it and read up on it and then write a little story for myself. So I had all of these things, like I don't even know, they weren't organized, all of these writings. And I just ended up putting them together because of what happened after our last trip, which I don't want to give any spoilers away, but that's what prompted me to write a book. Because everybody said, oh my gosh, you should write a book. I said, oh my gosh, I will never write a book, So there was some wrestling with that, but there is a bigger message than, a family's road trip.
Exactly. That's I really didn't expect what I was getting into when I was reading it, and then I'm like, thank goodness I've got this book. I'm sad now that it's over. So for me, I'm like, well, where's my daily dose here? I was really enjoying reading it, and you're writing, again, going from crime reporting to travel logging, but there's more. There's definitely, this is bigger than a travel log, as we were saying. But I also know that you work with Women's World magazine, and you've interviewed over 60,000 women over 15 years. I think that's why you have this intimate bond with the reader, is that you understand women. And, I know men can read this and enjoy it, but I think as a woman, you connect with us very deeply.
I think that I grieved in the arms of America and Canada. And, it's a type of gonzo journalism, Hunter Thompson, who put himself in his stories. I'd be standing in line at Walmart and, have a package of cookies and was sick of my kids. So I talked to the lady behind me and say, oh, do you want a cookie? And then she'd say, well, what are you doing here? You have an accent. So that I would tell the lady what had happened. So I got to practice on other people who wouldn't worry. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're still grieving or people want you to get back to your life and they care so much that they're too invested, if that makes sense. So in talking to strangers, it was just so uplifting, and we'd share stories, and I do connect with people in that way. Yes.
You went boondocking in Walmart.
That should be a song.
I was cracking up, listening to that or reading about that, because we always, in our travels on the road, you just see there. It's almost like a roundup. It's like a corral of RVs, and everybody's there boondocking, and we'll go drive through and go boondockers. And we were just interviewing a gentleman, Joel Holland, who took over a company, Harvest Host, where you can boondock at wineries. I'm just saying, and breweries.
Really?
I'm just telling you. So with Harvey, yeah, it's really cool. You get to go out, and it's like a really, cost. It's like $50 to be a member, and you go and get this list of places you can stay for free. And like if you stay at the winery, you just need to drink their wine. It's pretty cool. So I'm just saying.
That doesn't sound too hard either.
No, we're ready to go on the road. I don't want to boondock at Walmart so much, but boondocking at a winery sounds like
that's something I could do.
Yeah. I mean, what was that like, spending the night in Walmart, like at boondocking in Harvey?
Well, we split our time between, sometimes we would boondock at Walmart. We would often shop at Costco. We became big store shoppers. And because Costco has all these free samples, which was so great. And then, of course, you get lured in and you end up, buying new tires and all this other stuff. So, those stores almost made it feel like home, like they were safety spots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're so American, so Canadian. But we also found our own places to go camping and to go boondocking. So it wasn't always in parking lots. We really, we really spread ourselves out there.
Yeah, you went all over the place. And so getting Harvey was interesting because you started out in Portland area and going on this camping trip. And that's where the idea of sprinkling mark. You know, that was interesting, like how that happened. But I want readers to catch that because how you decide how that happened. Kind of a dirty experience, and everyone gets to read it. So everyone, when you get the Pink Steering Wheel Chronicles, you're gonna get some dirt going on somewhere. But you went camping, and eventually you found Harvey. And what was the difference for you immediately, suddenly being in Harvey versus going into hotels or trying to camp and trying to put tents up?
Well, we had only been camping, so here I am with these two little girls, and I'm not great at putting things together, like furniture and things like that. I'm just not good at it. So we have to keep breaking camp and then setting up camp because we're moving around the whole time. And it was really tiring, especially at night when you have the car headlights on and you're trying to figure out where the shock cords are and where the tent poles are. And we were tired and we were hungry and we were dirty, and there was this mudslide one night. So when I saw Harvey, that would be like somebody seeing the Ritz-Carlton. There it was on the side of the road with the for sale sign on it. And I did a U-turn. I said, if that thing's like under 5,000, I'm buying it.
See?
And the girls just looked at me. And I said, yep. So we did. And it was great because it just made the whole trip different. That's what really set us free.
Yeah, there's like a connectivity with that. And I think that's the part, when you lose somebody, there's that part of where you want to talk to people and then you really don't. And then people don't know what to say to you, but they want to say something in empathy. And there's that weird communication part of loss. And, for your daughters, that's a rough part. And you talk about that in your book, that having those moments where out of the blue, someone can just, hey, sprinkling on a street or next to a taco truck, and suddenly, hey, I miss Dad, and now you can talk. Whereas if it was Operation Normal, sometimes those things you don't have those communication moments.
Well, we all know the best place to get your kids to talk is in a car, right? Because you don't have to make eye contact.
Okay.
Unless you're looking through the rear view mirror, telling them to shut up. But, I think that's right there.
Mm-hmm. And for them, what was that like watching them over these 4 years and all these, almost 32,000 miles grow on these trips and experiencing all these different things? Did it help with their upbringing in regards to doing new things and maybe not having the fear of challenge so much?
Well, it's a good question. It was the trips made me face fears that I had because I knew that in order for me to be able to stand on my 2 feet and, face the world, I needed, and be able to raise my kids, I needed to feel strong and to accomplish things that I had been afraid of in order to, build that resilience muscle, if that makes sense. So fear of heights was a huge one. And then the girls were like, come on, Mom, we're going. And we rope climbed a 1,200-foot mountain in Quebec. Oh, my God. I'm not going to say what happened, but it was, it's in the book. But, accomplishing that has really changed my life.
Yeah. That would change mine. I'm allergic to heights. I am. I'm scared about it. And then when I drive and we're going on a road trip and, my knuckles, just the sweaty, coldest hand knuckles, just, but the only way I get through it is with Bob Marley playing for some reason. Then I can calm down and everything's going to be all right. And I can drive up the mountain pass, The Continental Divide did that. That just, because there's some part of me that just goes, I could sneeze and go off. Like, that's it.
I my know. Hand is always by the steering wheel.
But don't you feel like you
I'm
could
like,
what happens? You could sneeze, your foot goes on the accelerator, and then next thing you know, you're flying and you're Thelma and Louising it. And I'm not ready.
I was just going to say that you're Thelma and Louise again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, controlled adventure, right? So we always went with guides, and it's not like I have a ton of money. Trust me. I had to borrow money from my mother for the RV, but we'd scrimp and save and do our boondocking, and then I'm like, okay, girls, we're going on a weekend horseback riding trip to the Grand Tetons, and one of them was afraid of horses. Not afraid, but he hadn't really had a lot of horse experience. So she was a little nervous about it. And I think that's one of her best memories of the trips.
Yeah, she accomplished something.
Exactly. We'll talk about fear, fear of dogs. See, I mean, you really had a fear of dogs, and now you have a dog,
Well, exactly, because I was attacked by a German Shepherd, and I called them dog mares. I would have, dog mares rather than nightmares. And then when we were on a farm in Canada, there was a dog, and I had to be around the dog. So it just worked that I was able to handle it. And then we picked up this stray dog on an Indian reservation, and he became our constant companion. And I love him. He's the best. I think as women especially, we may not think that we're capable of doing things that we really are.
Mm-hmm. We are capable of a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we just have to put ourselves in the corner in order to jump out. We have to, Lisa and I, box ourselves in to the point where the only way out is to do what you're scared to do.
Well, I think that's it, because, as FDR says, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. Mm-hmm. So, in my case, I'm suddenly widowed, and I'm looking at my little kids, and I'm looking at my life, and I'm thinking, I have to go back to work in 4 days. I don't know how I'm going to handle this. So, getting out on the road, having kids especially, they need that digital detox, right? Mm-hmm. So, if they can build a campfire under the stars and pee in the woods and go grocery shopping themselves and, cooking over a fire and, riding horses and reading maps and all of these great things that they were able to do, it built them back up. And it gave them, they got to see mountains that were taller than their 6'4" father. It gave them such perspective. And, they're still my eyeball rolling teenagers, but they're definitely independent, strong little women who, can conquer their worlds. So I think that we accomplished that.
It's interesting too, because you also moved homes, and I think that's such as you said that, in the book, I really felt like I was reading your story, but I felt like I was like talking to you, or talking with you, you know what I mean? And it's such a well-written book. It's changing to sell the house and then move into a new one and renovate it and learn how to do that. I was cracking up because Nancy has done a lot of that, and just get in there. You're going to learn how to nail. You're going to learn how to drill. You're going to learn how to put a new toilet in and all those things. But making that decision is something that is not easy. But I know with Nancy and I, we've moved so many times in our lives. It is a way to get that fresh perspective and not always have to make the memories like in your face all the time. Yet you can still live with them, if that makes sense, where you get to have a fresh perspective, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to live my life now too, while I'm still going to cherish those memories. Did that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And that's, I think you can repaint, you could get all new furniture, you could move everything around, but the memories are still in the walls. The walls still speak to you. And, in our case, Mark had suddenly died at home, and it was not a pretty death, his heart attack. So it just, you see flashes of that person walking in the back door, playing with the kids or whatever. And I knew as a young woman that I had a choice to make. Mm-hmm. And that choice was to honor him in the best way that I could, but also to move forward and not let his death define us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what those trips were about, go west, young man. So it opened us and it freed us to make that move.
I know that when we lost a very dear family friend in Mexico, he used to be our neighbor when we lived in south of Ensenada, and very, very close. And he had a heart attack, and his daughter was driving down and found him. And I mean, it was, all of us were losing it, and we just never, and they eventually sold the place, which, everyone's like, how could you sell the party house, And it was a party house. It was cool. Our whole band played there. It was cool. But he passed, and it took us all a long time. I mean, we used to have sound effects on our shows, and we just couldn't play them. It was like, no way. We never could make ourselves to go back down there because we didn't want to. It's weird. You want to just keep those memories that you have. You don't want to go back and
it's empty.
Yeah, keep thinking he's going to be in the other room or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a weird thing.
Exactly. And things have a place and time in life, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that we need to honor and respect that in life, and to free ourselves from, from feeling sad if you can help it. To try to do positive, upbeat things, and really harness life and cherish whatever you've had, but also keep going forward, right?
Well, being sad all the time doesn't change anything. So you can't bring people back. So to me, moving forward, and if you're going to move forward, then I think it has to be fun, and different and new, so that your mind is full of new things. Doesn't mean you're forgetting.
Absolutely.
And I think it is honoring people who have passed, because I think that's exactly what they would want you to do.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what I love also with your sprinkling mission. I mean, you took Mark everywhere. I mean, it becomes this whole other adventure where there's almost like there's communication with him, when you're doing that, and it's like, I'm taking you here in the oddest places. You sprinkled him in some of the craziest places, and the Commodore, when he passed,
on the USC football field.
He's on the USC marching field, and his daughter and friends all entered in a walk. They waited for a Susan Komen cancer walk or something to happen so that they could sprinkle him. And they went in there with Ziploc bags, all of them. They have footage of them sprinkling him all across the field. Because he's addicted to USC, football. And, so there's something about that where, he's laughing because, he would expect that. He would if you don't do that, I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. And, I'll come down and kick your ass,
So, right? I mean, part of the reason why I think in my little mental mind that I did this is because I wanted my kids to know that anywhere that they went, their dad would be there.
That's
right.
Cool. Yeah.
And he's from Kansas, born, raised Kansas guy, used to be a cattle hand rancher dude, had a motorcycle. His dad worked at Piggly Wiggly. His mom was a crossing guard lady. The Piggly Wiggly. Mark worked there too. Just like a really nice, solid family. His grandmother helped raise him. So he really had that I don't know, all-American kind of bad boy thing. And I just, I wanted him, after all of the work that he did, through Bloomberg and suing the Federal Reserve, because he wasn't like an obnoxious, stressed out reporter type. He was actually like the big, calm, cool, collected guy that would walk in a room and everyone would just kind of look at him. But,
like
when
John Wayne.
Yeah.
I know, he was a little like John Wayne, yeah. But because of the work that he had done, he really just had this affinity for people, not, not getting ripped off or, knowing what was going on. And I think he took it so personally that, taxpayers were bailing out banks and they didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And that would affect their credit. So like if they wanted to go buy a car or whatever, they wouldn't be able to do it. And he just had this mission kind of thing. So I thought, well, that would be the most appropriate, is to give him mini funerals all over the country and all over Canada to kind of return him to his roots. So
I love that. I love that you also call it sprinkling, because sprinkle, because as I'm reading the story, it's like little sprinkles of magic dust, That's how there's just something about that word versus, oh, we're spreading ashes. No, sprinkle. There's this, I don't know, this little life of it. That it just means life to me. It's just it's weird what a one word can do, It's,
well, there's a big difference between scattering and sprinkling.
Yep,
right?
Yeah. Sprinkling.
It's like
magic.
A cup or a teaspoon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he went everywhere. I mean, really, I've been everywhere, man. He really has. And the other part is that you have excerpts from his journal that you found. And man, his writing too. I mean, it's amazing. His journaling is incredible. That should be like a movie.
I know, right? I mean, it's that whole Hunter Thompson gonzo journalism type of thing that, his generation really, if you were a writer, Thompson was your hero. So I think that Mark wrote in that style. But the thing about those journals, and I don't want to give it away because I want people to buy the book, but
yes, everyone buy it.
Could you imagine
Pink-steeringwheel-chronicles? Go get it.
Could you imagine coming home from those trips and finding that journal? I was on the ground in the sunflower. I was just decimated. It was beyond, and I'm not religious necessarily. I'm not spiritual. I've never really been to a psychic or anything. That floored me.
I'm so glad you put it in there, because it was like you were writing it together. And there's a lot of coinky dinkies throughout your book. And just even for me, I was, I know before we went on air, I was talking about how, over the 4th of July weekend, I went and got, a Foster's oil can. And I have moments, and I do that out of a friend who's passed. And we raised it, Nancy doesn't drink it. She has her wine, and he knows that. Yeah, but she has a stiff cocktail. She chose to Matt. It was so funny because here I am sitting on the patio drinking this oil can. I should have kept it in the paper bag. He would have liked that. And coming back in that evening reading more, and there you are talking about Foster's. And I was just like, that's weird. That's weird. Why am I drinking a Foster's?
That.
Isn't that just, it's like, huh. So.
Well, do you remember the deli man in the book?
Yes, I love the deli man.
The deli man, I don't want to say what happened, but that's one of those things that you go, really? Right?
The deli man is cool. Yeah. And I want to go have a cigarette with him. I don't even smoke anymore, but I do. I do. There's just, I don't know. I think this needs to go on the screen. Do you see this as a movie?
Well, I can say that it has gone up from number 17 on Amazon. It was at number 1 for about 2 weeks. And there's been a few phone calls. I can't say anything yet. But I definitely know that it will be a movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. Because
I know, I can't wait.
It's because when you read it, it's like a movie. You feel like you're on the road trip. You feel all the emotions, because there's a lot of emotions. But I love that you're so real, and you're real. You tell it as it is. There's no, how do I watch my language anymore? But anyway, you're very candid, very real, and honest. And I think that is something that we need these days, because when we start being so cleany-weeny, don't tell the truth just to, be correct and politically correct. I don't even want to use those terms, but we lose a sense of our soul and our dirt. We need to be in the dirt, and we need to feel like what life really is. And we start, trying to make everything polished and perfect. It ain't going to be that way. Life isn't that way. And you're going to have some, ugly surprises. But your book really is so human, and so like you can that gives you the identifying quality. I think that when you're reading it, you feel very connected, like you're there, like we've known you for a long time. And so it's even talking to you now, I feel like I've talked with you for years. So
I know, I love this.
This is cool.
Unfortunately, and I've always told people stories. I've never told my own. And I realized that death is just something that people don't talk about that openly, and people felt uncomfortable and they felt so badly and they were trying to help. And I just had to, kind of do it my own way. But I hope that it encourages women and men. I definitely have male readers too. I hope that it just encourages people to, as I tell my girls, be happy for what you have. Don't cry for what you want. That's one of our family mottos.
I love it.
That, we can all take a look at our lives and go, you know what? Maybe this guy ain't so bad. Maybe my kids, maybe we can work this out, and maybe we can all, be happy and love what we've been given. Because when it's taken away, you are scrambled eggs.
That's right. That's right, Nancy.
I was just going to comment that when things are written or talked about in a gloss over, phony fashion, and you don't know that you're living in some kind of a fantasy world, and then when something happens, it's far harder to recover and to accept because you're not used to the truth anyway.
Good point.
Yeah, when the truth hits you, it hits a lot harder, whether it's a good truth or a bad truth, because you're not really, I feel like there's a big difference between existing and living. So I think when you're listening to stuff or seeing stuff that isn't really as it appears to be, then you're existing. But until you really get down and know the truth, that's when you start to live.
Yeah.
You're profound.
Oh, that's my mama, man. That's my mama. When you travel, it forces you. That's the moving forward we were talking about in the beginning. When you travel and you're going through loss, and you have to somehow pick yourself up to continue living and doing, especially you as a mom, you've got your children, and it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? When you're traveling, there's the new experiences, like we were saying, Nancy, but you're having to handle what's happening now. So you're already starting to handle life by traveling.
Yeah, almost on a minute-by-minute basis.
Yeah, right? You're living in the moment. It's that, that this is it, live in the now. And I think that helps us get back on our feet, Well,
it does, because then you've got other experiences that have added to your life that you can draw upon. So it educates you more. I hope you can hear my dogs barking. That's the one that we took off of the Indian reservation. Oh, I love him. But the other part about driving, I just think road trips are great.
They're cool.
I'm going on my 5th one after our conversation with my almost 19-year-old. And we're taking Harvey out. And it's just so funny because she was, I still call her my eyeball rolling teenager, even though she's in college. And she said, "Oh, you're being so annoying about this trip." I said, "Okay, well then, I don't want to annoy you because we're going to be trapped in the RV together. So why don't you plan everything? And I'll just sit in the back with headphones on and, I'll tie a bandana around my mouth so I don't speak."
That's it. See, just
so
let them try it out. I was going to say, let them try it out. And that's going to be an interesting journey for sure. Getting it out there.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I think that I might even write the Pink-Steeringwheel-Chronicles too from the back of the RV.
Good.
About mother-daughter relationships and the funny predicaments that I'm sure she's going to get herself in. And my job is to support, but I'm just going to sit back and watch.
I love this. And I really do hope part 2 is coming out. And, Laura, it has been such a pleasure chatting with you. And before you go, 2 things. Most memorable national park. And then.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Well, you can add more than one.
Oh, can I say all of them? I mean,
I like to hear that.
Well, I always, I think that if you go to an exotic place like Bali or, people are traveling to all of these amazing places, but we kind of forget about America and Canada. And I'm going back because, excuse me, the national parks are all beautiful in their own ways. Like I loved Yosemite. And I almost didn't want to get out of the RV, and I'm so glad I did. It's incredible. The White Sands, what is it called? In New Mexico?
Yeah, White Sands in New Mexico, yeah. Mm-hmm. The National
If
Monument.
you've never been there, if you girls are going on a road trip, please go there.
It's just down the road from us. Yeah. We're here in Tucson. We're about 5 minutes from the entrance of Saguaro National Park. And we've never made it to White Sands yet, but we're on a mission. We're going to go and do every single national park unit in the country, and there's 419 of them, 18 of them units. So that's our thing. We were on the road permanently for 3 years, and came home because we needed better internet, and now we really have beyond itchy feet. That I don't know. The RV thing is looking mighty good for us to get on the road and do an RV this time, instead of hoteling it. We'll see.
I highly recommend an RV because it's like if you live in Manhattan, the RV is probably bigger than your apartment. So basically you've got your apartment on wheels, right? And you don't have to pack and unpack and leave things in the drawer and check under the bed. And, it just takes all of that hassle out of it.
Exactly.
And also you can go and buy, really great food and cook it yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't get fat by ordering the French fries because they're there, right? And you save a lot of money.
See?
By not eating out all the time.
It's so expensive. Yeah, we were not the healthiest when we came off the road. Let's put it that way. Because we did find food deserts across the country too.
What about internet?
Yeah, how
did you handle that?
Well, I wasn't that addicted to technology at that point. This is a recent thing. So, I went to Best Buy and got a few things, and we'll see if they work. And if not, I'll just, do it the old-fashioned way with a pen and paper, which I have plenty of. But I'm doing a Canada book tour, and I can spill the beans on this. Cruise America is concerned about Harvey, so they're giving me an RV to drive on part of my road trip. So they're sponsoring this because they love the book, and they called me yesterday.
Cool.
So how could I say no to that, right?
Right on. Shout out to them. That is awesome.
I know. I'm so excited.
That's really cool.
Isn't that really cool?
I'm going to be watching you on social media. I want pictures. I want pictures every day. I'm going to be watching. I know you're on Facebook. You're on Twitter. Are you on Instagram?
We are on Instagram on the Pink-Steeringwheel-Chronicles, and people send us pictures of them reading the book. Cool. And then, we hashtag them. So, the book is at the top of the Empire State Building. It's, at a bodega, chef is holding it. Yeah,
we'll have to take it to the park. We'll take it to, we have a mascot. And so this is the reality. Our mascot has to meet Harvey because our travel mascot is Priscilla, the pink sock monkey, the queen of the road. So she needs to meet the pink steering wheel.
This is
we could fix them up.
Yeah, I know. So, but what we will do, I promise you we will do this. Priscilla will take the Pink-Steeringwheel-Chronicles, and she will take it to Saguaro National Park.
And we'll
Instagram you from there.
Oh, that is so exciting.
We've got to do that. Priscilla will take your book around because she's like that. She gets around. She's a happy little monkey. So
you have more fun than a barrel of monkeys. So
we do. That's it. I love it. Now, the last question was road trip music. What do you guys play in Harvey on the road?
All kinds of music, but I can tell you that every morning we would play Queen, "We Are the Champions."
Right on.
Just to, that was our Rise and Shine song. Like, okay, I'm not singing on your radio show, but the words are, "We are the champions, no time for losers." How does the rest of it go? "We are the champions of the world."
Yeah, because we are the champions
that was our,
of the world.
Right. You can sing it. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are the champions
of the world.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm just hearing the piano, and it's like, yeah, I like that. We are the champions. Queen, you got to play loud. When we were in South Africa on our tour there, we did a 2.5-year tour. Nancy did it for the Cancer Association with our artwork, and took me on the road as a kid. That's why I love your book too. I just identify also with your daughters going on the road. And we get on the road, and we would, if we drove through a small little, what we call dorpies over there, little towns, little teeny towns, and it was in the morning or at night, we would blast Eric Clapton Cocaine and get the hell out as fast as we could. Because there was there's like a Bible Belt area there that you would do that through and then just move on. But anyway,
just wanted to say,
well, the classic rock is,
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with it.
The classic rock is definitely good road music.
Oh, yeah. You need that. You need that for sure. Okay. So everybody, again, the book is The Pink-Steeringwheel-Chronicles, A Love Story by Laura-Fahrenthold. And you can go to her website, laura-fahrenthold.com. You connect to her social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I want to give a big shout out. Thank you to our sponsor for today's show, the International Food, Wine, and Travel Writers Association. We call them IFTWA. It's a global network of journalists who cover the hospitality and lifestyle fields and the people who promote them. And we love them. We have our radio show every second Friday with them. And you can go to their website, ifwtwa.org, IFTWA.
And you can drink wine while you listen.
You can drink wine, yes. Also, we want to thank you, listeners, always for joining us here on Big Blend Radio. We air Sunday through Friday. You will be able to get the entire schedule if you just go to bigblendradio.com, and all the different podcast outlets are there, so you can listen as shows go live or anytime on demand. And we're going to play some music because that's how we roll here. This song is just for you, Laura. It is called Sands of Time. It is from the Bay Station Band. They're up near Richmond area in San Francisco Bay Area, and they like to sail and do all these nice things out there. But this is off of their brand new album. It's called Other Desert Cities. It's a road trip album. It's from their writing. They had I'm doing everything that's around writers and travel today. They wrote their album in Joshua Tree and on a writer's retreat. So everyone, you can go to baystationband.com. And again, here is Sands of Time, because it's all about standing in your shoes, standing on your feet, and taking it into your RV, which you know all about, right, Laura?
Say a little prayer for me for this next trip, but yes, so far so good.
Right on. Awesome. Well, safe travels and best of wishes on your book tours. We'll be following you on social media and looking forward to seeing more of your adventures and round 2 and the movie. Okay.
This has been so much fun. Thank you.
It has been a blast. Everyone, again, here it is, Sands of Time.
Shoes, now the sand by the door, from walking in the desert with you. Sand by the door.